So all of those types of things were interesting because I have two teenagers. And so our scheduling of everything is getting way more hectic lately. We have our older son who's getting his driver's license this week. So now keeping tabs on all of us is going to get even more challenging.
Nice. Yeah. Well, yeah, communication is definitely part of the process of getting it more in balance and harmony and having the tools to support that.
For sure. Yeah. Welcome back, everyone, to our favorite part of the week. It's time to listen to Sounds of Health, where we share the stories, people, and resources that help others to improve their physical, emotional, and financial well-being. Whether you consider yourself a health enthusiast, a wellness warrior, or if you're simply looking for information, guidance, or inspiration, you've come to the right place. I want to thank everyone who's been listening to Sounds of Health, and if you're tuning in to hear today's guests and you enjoy the show, be sure to go back and listen to some of our past episodes. We've had some really amazing guests, and we appreciate your help in sharing our sounds far and wide. I'm your host, Dave MacNiven, and today I'm excited to welcome our first international guest, the founder and chief energy officer of Life by Design, Natalya Berdikyan. How are you doing, Natalya?
Thank you, David. I'm lovely to be here. Thank you so much. And being the first international speaker, wow.
Yeah, pretty
Thank you for
amazing.
having me.
You're our second Zoom guest, so we've tested this in, knowing that you were coming up, but you are absolutely our first international guest, so we're excited to have you.
Excellent. Wow. Looking forward to. Let's dig in.
Great. So first of all, to get started, why don't you just tell us a little bit about your story and what brought you to doing the work that you're doing now with Life by Design?
That's a very good question. Thank you. Well, quite a few years ago, I used to have a chocolate factory in Belgium, Brussels. Well, chocolate production, great, right? It's all
Yeah.
about chocolate and sweet and sugar. I must say, a lot of sugar. And at some point in time, I felt drained and exhausted, and clearly wasn't because I was eating too much chocolate, quite the opposite. And it was really about feeling that sense of misalignment. And at that point, I didn't really know what was going on because I really loved what I did. I mean,
Yeah.
who doesn't want to run a chocolate factory and enjoy the product as well and had a great life and everything? But it just didn't feel right. And I had to sort of change everything and didn't know what it was because, when you achieve something, you don't want to lose it
Yeah,
all. You
absolutely.
have all kind of fears and expectations, and you're trying to do the best you can to make things work. And I must say, I did know a bit about change. You mentioned I'm international. Well, I do come from originally from Moscow, and in the 90s I went to US, and since then I lived in 6 different countries, moved 23 times in 23 years, and worked
Wow.
in different industries. And so I know a little bit about change,
Sounds like it.
right? But at that point, I just felt stuck and didn't know what to do. I thought I have no intuition because not telling me stuff. I read all the books about intuition, didn't help. Went to the EO forums where, as you are as well, an entrepreneurs organization, and they kind of helped me to stay sane, that I'm not the only one and things happen and
Yeah.
sometimes take time and you need to listen to yourself. And I did have intuition. I just didn't want to listen to it. And anyways, a long story short, so the change did come in 360 degree, and I've moved into coaching space. I became a professional certified coach and went into health and well-being and finished Harvard Medical School for health and nutrition and became a yoga
Wow.
trainer and breathwork pranayama trainer and Reiki healing and all that stuff. So complete difference from producing chocolate, clearly. And on that journey, there was a lot of focus on getting to the core of who you are and where the energy comes from and not just the why of Simon Sinek, but the who, and then the why and the what and the how. And so when I work with people that want to have the life that they can enjoy and feel happy and healthy and wealthy and have all that performance and fulfillment, we always go down to the core, what's deep inside. And at that time, I had to figure it out for myself and get back to that core and the full alignment. And clearly sugar wasn't part of my value system.
Right,
and now with all the healthy stuff, you understand why.
Sure.
And so I'm happy to support people on their health and well-being journeys and support improving their physical, emotional, and financial well-being, because everything is connected.
For sure. So. Absolutely. Well, that's amazing. You mentioned the Entrepreneurs Organization. That's actually not something I've spoken about on the podcast before, but it is something that I became a part of this past year. I'm in their accelerator program, so I just got started with the group. Yeah, it's been really exciting. Did you join EO, the Entrepreneurs Organization, when you were the owner of the chocolate company?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
I was one of the founders of EO Belgium. At the time, I was a spouse in YPO, and I thought, well, I want to have my forum, but I want to do it in YPO because it's quite a different organization. I need entrepreneurs, and we didn't have EO. So what do you do when you don't have something? You create it. So we launched EO in Belgium, and since then I moved to Spain. Once again, another change, since I love changes.
Yeah, right.
And it's a beautiful organization, like-minded people, very conscious and very dynamic. So welcome and congratulations.
Thank you. It's funny what you were saying about joining EO and finding other people that are like-minded, but also suddenly everything you're feeling as an entrepreneur is being validated because all of these other people are going through the same types of challenges, the same types of opportunities, and that's what I found too, is you kind of sit in this bubble as a business owner trying to figure things out. And sometimes you forget that so many other people are having that same experience. And that's something that EO really highlighted for me. And then, of course, introduces you to that world of creating a little bit more structure, your core values and all of those things, your big goals and all of those things. So it sounds to me like that led you on this path that you're on to the coaching world. Is that correct?
Totally true. So a few years ago, I was at one of the EO events, retreats, leadership academies in Peru, a relay, you call it. And amazing, standing on top of Machu Picchu and listening to these beautiful words of Warren Rustang, one of the great people within our EO and within the world, as he's transformed a lot of lives, and he's almost 80 and still does it.
Wow.
And listening to this speech, and I was thinking about the chocolate factory and what I'm doing and the values and the purpose and all that stuff. And I was thinking, no, this is not right. And when I came back, things had to change. And that event and standing there with 30 entrepreneurs from all over the world made such a huge impact on me. And several of us transformed our lives and the businesses since. So EO had a big part of it.
That's really amazing. And then you actually had reached out to me when you saw me on LinkedIn. So we didn't know that we were both a part of EO until our first conversation. So that was really exciting as well. So tell me a little bit about the work that you're doing. So you have a website, correct?
I have a website. I have a YouTube, Instagram, and all these social media accounts. And at the end of the day, what I do is I help entrepreneurs and their teams, their companies to be at their full potential, to have healthier lives and healthier businesses, greater performance, but moreover, less stress and a more sense of fulfillment and satisfaction, deeper connection within themselves and their teams. And I do it through different comprehensive, or as I say, holistic programs, as nothing works in isolation. It's not just about the leadership and the cognitive stuff. It's also about the body and our spirit or our soul or our purpose and the values and the beliefs, whatever you want to call it. And everything has to be in alignment, and nothing works in isolation. So when we say that we want to perform to our best and we want to be the best version of ourselves, I look at it, okay, what about mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually? A lot of things that influence our energy and our performance and our motivation and that state of being. And so I work with different methodologies and take people on a journey, or teams on the journey of transformation.
So suddenly that title that you have of Chief Energy Officer makes more sense. So you're looking to create alignment for people.
Alignment. Yeah. At the end of the day, it's all about energies. I say, well, if you have all the time in the world, but you don't have the right kind of energy, the right kind of mindset, the thoughts, the emotions, the state, what are you going to do and create? You can have all the time in the world, but nothing's going to happen, or whatever is going to come out of it is not going to be the most constructive and productive and creative and healing and nurturing and great. At the end would be a waste of time and potential. So the opposite is true as well. If you're in the right kind of energy, more constructive, building, healing kind of energy, you experience things differently, other people experience you differently, and therefore you create different results and everything else that comes with it.
It sounds like that would be extremely important in building a business.
Yes, business, life, health, relationships, anything.
That's amazing. So how do you connect with people? With you being in Barcelona, are you working with people all over, or are you specific to a certain region?
All over. I actually don't have much clients in Spain. It's a great place to be. I'd say the best place to be. We have the sea and the mountains, great food, great people, great music and everything. And all my clients are everywhere else, from India to Latin America, some Arab states, Europe, US, especially US, because there's a lot of focus on performance and achievement, and health and well-being at times suffers, and people get burned out and stressed out and overweight and all the rest of it. And really moving people to a different state so they can have it all, but then with less stress and better health and better relationships and less conflict is an amazing gift. And so I do work a lot online, virtually. I also have a lot of psychosomatic practices, so it's not just cognitive and coaching and stuff or training, but I do like taking people on retreats and on journeys. So I always welcome people to come to Spain, and I do have that. I have teams coming from Canada and US and Europe and whatnot to here, which is a beautiful location, and we have great nature, and taking people on this mind, body, and soul team journey, and makes a huge experience for them. So they come back transformed, and it's not just something momentary, but it stays and shifts.
That sounds incredible. With the people that you work with, is the path designed specifically for them, or are you taking them through kind of a structured program that you've created?
It's both. At the end of the day, every person is an individual and is unique, has unique things that one wants to work on, and we look at what is influencing that person on the person's journey, whether it's personal or professional. At the end, it's always both. Same for the team. I create the experiences depending on what the teams and individuals within those teams need, and clearly the direction of the organization. The organization is going through change, or it's expanding, or they're experiencing, conflicts or whatever, getting people to their deeper potential. And so if you want something that is standard, although it's not standard, what I do is I start with the work before, and I do the assessments and deep dive debriefs individually with the people, and then design the program for the people or for the team. And then I take people on the journey, and normally it's several days journey, And it's really mind, body, and soul. We can start with the yoga and the meditation, the breath work in the morning. We can have reflective discussions and walks in the nature, and then we have group work and games and things. And it creates a very special, unique, safe space where people open up and they go deep like this, somewhere they haven't been before, even together.
Yeah.
And that's a magical experience. And then afterwards, I do the follow-up and the follow-up and the guidance, because you don't just take them somewhere else and drop them. We
Right.
need support and we need guidance in order to continue our transformation and to go where we want to go as a person, as a company, as a leader. And so I support them with that.
That's great. Yeah, I mean, you've mentioned a couple of times how there's really no difference between the personal and the professional. That energy, that flow, that alignment is something that is necessary in both aspects of your life. And I know in my own experience, especially business owners, there's always a struggle to try and find balance in that relationship, which necessarily doesn't ever have a balance, right? It's more about finding a flow and being able to manage it all effectively. What has been your experience? Are people coming to you on one side or the other? Are they finding you because they're having certain challenges in their personal or professional life? How are people coming to you?
Good question. So the door can come from anywhere. One can say, I want to be a better leader and run my organization more freely so I can have more free time to do what I truly love and not be so conflictual or so, on the people, and have less stress and more fulfillment, right? So normally those would be people that have already achieved a certain level and they have tried it all and they know there's a different way of living and running their businesses, so they don't feel so exhausted and overwhelmed and stressed and have no time for their family, because they also notice that their relationship struggles whether it's at work or at home, because it always is connected. And also health comes up a lot. Their nutrition, their sleep, their weight, their intimate life, and all of that connects and interrelates. While as an entrepreneur wants to be a greater, achieve and perform and help their team to perform better, that's where they see the return on investment, because at the end of the day, everybody looks at what is the return on my investment and the coaching program, team building retreats. But because everything we do outside of work, and even at work, relationship-wise, connection-wise, affects the outcome, we start digging deeper. What is actually influencing you when you come to your office in the morning or when you have that meeting and connection? What influences your people? How are, what is their physical, the way they live, their nutrition, their sleep, their exercising? I'm not to say that, you have to let your people sleep for 10 hours a day and exercise 3 hours a day during working hours.
Right.
But being mindful that if they don't have those mindful breaks, and if they don't take the moments, I call them exercise breaks, get up, take a couple of minutes of walk, go sit down. We have such a lot of hours of sitting. We're not made that way naturally to be sitting the whole day. It affects the whole thing. Eating, what nutrition do we have? Do we hydrate ourselves? Do we sleep well? Because everything affects the way that we come up, the way we show up, the way we're getting in that flow that you're talking about. Because at the end of the day, we want people to be at their best, because at that state, they're more performant, they're more creative, they're more collaborative, they're not going into the state of fear and defensiveness and the whole thing, competition. So we get them into that other more elevated state, more conscious leadership, if you wish. And so all of these things affect whatever happens at home. And if you don't have good relationship, personal relationship, or you don't sleep well enough, it's normal that you're not effective or mentally alert or focused or creative. But what we do is we keep pushing ourselves and we keep pushing others, ignoring all of these.
Right.
But if we want to be at our best, these need to be taken in consideration and really optimize all the influencers, all the things that are affecting us. And so it's pretty holistic. So I go into all kind of hacks and strategies, from breathing exercises to how we can have more calm and deal with anxiety or stress, or have that resilience, the emotional resilience, create positive connections, social connections, because it's so important. And lead from a different place, lead self and lead others. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a completely holistic approach, as you're
Pretty
mentioning,
yes.
one thing affects the other. So you're
One
looking
thing
into all
affects
of
the
it.
other. Yeah, if we want to live and function to our optimal state,
Yeah.
we need to look at everything, mentally, emotionally, psychologically, environmentally. Do we have plants in the office? Do we have good lighting? Is it warm? Is it cold? Do we have That's why I moved from Belgium to Spain, have more sun
Yeah,
and have the sea
right.
in front so I can do my yoga in the morning looking at the sea. Isn't that lovely? And so creating the environments that are helping us to function in the most optimal way and eliminating those stressors, the triggers, the things that drain our energy.
Yeah.
They can be environment, can be people, can be foods, can be things we do. Lots of things, and all of these we are looking at and going deeper into blocks and fears and limiting beliefs, and why are we flipping out at our colleagues and yelling all of a sudden, or not expressing ourselves in the most efficient way and are not creative. Digging deeper, really peeling off the onion of the situation, of the person.
How long does your engagement with someone typically last? I know, so you offer these retreats, but as far as the one-on-one coaching or engaging with a certain client, do you find them kind of learning these skills that you're teaching them, and then they're able to kind of go off on their own, or are they checking back in with you? What's that engagement like?
Yes. So I generally start with 3 months program. So we meet every week or every couple of weeks, and I give them the tools and we unpack. And then generally, depending how fast they want to move and how challenging the situations are in their lives, we meet once a week with a 1 week break, or like I say, and then moving into once a month, and then having check-ins and strategies to support their ongoing journey, because their growth and development never stops, right?
Yeah.
As all the entrepreneurs want to continue growing and improving and evolving, whether it's their business, their life, their relationships, having new dreams completed, and not just ticking the boxes, but really feeling the way they want to feel and aspire to feel. And how do we want to live the next 50, 30 years of our lives? What got us here ain't gonna take us where we want to be. And how does that last birthday of your life look like? Do you want to be fit mentally and physically and emotionally, or not to say suffer the last several years of your life, which is the reality, and longevity is the topic. And how can we optimize what we do right now in order to have a more quality life in the future?
Yeah, and the only real constant we can depend on is change. That's all that we know.
Pretty much.
That it's always going to change. I mean, you're aware of that very well, but I'm sure that's what you're faced with too, with the people that you work with. What are some of the biggest challenges that you've seen come through with the people that you've been helping?
Good question. Point one, for a person to evolve and change certain things, one needs to be open, right? I deal with people that have certain ways, of course, and belief systems and habits that they do need changes and some addictions as well, and that's normal, natural. I have functional entrepreneurs that have addictions that they deal with, and they see therapists in parallel, and that's a completely normal. Recognizing that and working on that, creating that ecosystem and the support system to help them grow is very important. And so having people being stuck in their ways, and if they continuously don't want to implement the change, basically keeps them stuck. One can say, well, I want to lose 10 kilos, but I'm not willing to exercise or switch from ice cream to dried fruit, for example. And that can be challenging, right? So the question is how much do we want what we really want? Because maybe we really don't, but we are lying ourselves. And so going deep to what is really blocking them, what is going on down there, is I just had a call, and it's about, well, having a limiting belief that healthy food can be good and tasteful. It can. But if one thinks otherwise, until we unpack that, no change will come. And actually, there's plenty of great food that is really healthy and delicious and looks really great. But it's all about creating that awareness and breaking those limiting beliefs and things, or something that didn't work before. And if I think of going there, I will keep being blocked, right? And they're like, okay, no, I tried it, didn't work before, so I'm not gonna try it again. But we're not the same people we were back in the days. And so, but generally, people move forward, and they have those aha and growth moments. Every session, every meeting we have, every training and every retreat is absolutely magical to see how people evolve and expand, because like energy, consciousness, it's all about expanding, it's all about elevating, it's getting into that flow and shedding all the blocks and all the weight. It's like when I meet them, they have this heavy backpack in the back, with all the stuff that keeps on draining them and taking them down. And later it's like that bird that flies into freedom. And by freedom, I mean really freedom to choose what you truly want. How do you want to feel? How do you want to look like in terms of your fitness? Who do you want to be with? How do you want to run your business? What kind of team do you want to have around? How that all feels and is. And we are a choice, and giving people that choice and creating that dream with them, I find a really beautiful experience, and very grateful to be able to do that.
That's great. Now, for your company, is it just you, or do you have other people that are working with you?
I have a team of associate coaches and experts that really focus on particular things, be it sleep, doctors, and really or psychologists, coaches that focus on breath work, on hypnotherapy, or cold showers and all these things. Doctors that go directly into more medical topics and the longevity topics, and the more, depending on what challenges come up in terms of the health and wellness, exercise and everything.
That's great.
I know a lot of stuff, but I can't say that I know it all. And it's all about supporting people, having someone that focuses on intimate relationships and couple relationships, or HDHD, because there's a lot of that also in the entrepreneurial world.
Yeah, sure.
And more so with the focus, lack of focus and everything.
Great. Now, what are some of the ideal clients that you have? How can people find you? When should they be looking for you?
When they want to grow and evolve and have the life that they desire, or run the business, so it gives them the freedom and the sense of fulfillment, and eliminate the stress, and have greater health and greater relationships. And You can find me on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on my website, and always happy to support, happy to talk, explore, guide them to where they want to go with their team or with their family.
Great. Are there certain things I know in the coaching world, there seem to be a lot of different programs. What are some of the things that kind of set yours apart? Is there something that is different about the things that you're doing?
Well, we mentioned that before. I work holistically, so it's not just one or the other. It's not just cognitive or on the body level or spiritual. It is all very much integrated. I integrate a lot of different methodologies. So it is about well-being, performance, health, nutrition, healing. I am a certified professional coach by ICF, and that is a golden standard, being the PCC
Yeah.
certified. And so for me, it is all about making sure that I have the tools to help the people in their best way possible. And if it's not me, is a lot of people behind me that can support, because at the end of the day, it's all about them getting what they need, and it's their agenda, and it's their health, it's their dream, it's their business, and we're here to support that.
With your own personal journey, I mean, changing careers completely and moving into a whole other space had to have been challenging, to say the least, I would assume.
Yeah.
How did you work through that for yourself? And what are some of I mean, with everything that you're teaching other people how to do, what's working best for you as far as your own personal journey of health? That you mentioned yoga and other daily practices, but how did you, so I guess my question is, that was a little bit rambling and run on. My question really is, how did you go through that change and that transformation? And what are those practices that are really important to your ongoing journey?
Right. Thank you for sharing the question. Well, because of the change, like I said, I lived in 6 different countries. That means moving, changing, integrating, adapting, and working through expectations, disappointments, finding the networks and the communities that I can feel comfortable with, and EO being part of that world. It's a global entrepreneurial community, but everywhere I create a small community where, example, here we play beach volley every weekend, so we have a community of friends and entrepreneurs that do that together. Integrating into different cultures, it also requires new language. So I speak 4 languages, speaking
Wow,
of
yeah.
what is unique. If people want to have an international view and a multilingual, multicultural dimension to support them, I have that. So it's communities, you rightly said, and have like-minded people that can support you and have that ecosystem. It's like any coach or psychologist, we have coaches and psychologists, because it's important to have the support system as well.
Yeah.
I just had one earlier today, a session, and my personal habits. So I do a yoga, meditation, breath work every morning. I have I'm grateful to have the sea in front of me, and if I can do it at the sea, if it's not raining like it was today, it's wonderful.
Yeah.
I practice all the special energetic tools that I give to the clients as well. So, and try to practice what I preach. A lot has to do with the mindset, as I call it. We have a energy leadership or management methodology, and it's all about shifting your thoughts from, one can say, positive to negative to positive, but it's really anabolic and catabolic, the ones that destruct us and disrupt us and take us down, and the ones that expand us and heal us. Because at the end of the day, energy is, it's physics. Negative thoughts create the hormones, catabolic or disruptive hormones like adrenaline, cortisol, that take us down, affect our body cells, and ultimately lead to diseases and burnout and all of that stuff. So it's not just about doing exercises and eating well and sleeping well. It's also about having more positive thoughts that lead more to positive emotions that change our hormones to more constructive, building, healing hormones like dopamine, which is a happy hormone,
Right.
and
Yeah.
endorphin. So it's not just woo-woo stuff or spiritual
Right.
stuff. It is physics. It's we have it in our body and our cells. So
Yeah.
that's also important. And being mindful of that all the time and practicing the gratitude and being appreciative of what we have is very important. So a lot of walking, a lot of water. I stopped drinking alcohol years ago. I feel super great. And I can
Yeah.
tell you, I could party back in the days. And so all these healthy habits, and you probably heard of the book Outlive, and there's a lot of great stuff out there. You can always
Yeah.
find a lot of best practices on internet, but it's not about knowing what is healthy and good, because technically we know it all. It's about making it stick and having the choices and those tiny habits that can at the end make a big difference. If
Yeah.
you change 1% or 1 degree, it makes a huge difference over time. So who do you want to be? How do you want to live 10, 30, 50 years from now? So making the choices now, whether it's 5 minutes walk between the calls or 15-minute yoga that can lead to half an hour yoga or 1 hour walk, it's up to you. But starting small and then doing incremental, consistent changes that serve you best, because at the end of the day, we need to love ourselves and take care of ourselves.
Yeah.
Because
for
if
sure.
we are well, we can do well, right? If we have great energy, we can bring that energy into the workplace, into the universe, making that impact we want to make in our businesses and our other people's lives and families, communities. So self-care, self-nurture, self-love, not selfish, because if you're well, you can do well.
That's a great point. So doing well for others as well. I mean, that helps us
Yeah.
to be better. I mean,
Yes.
I love that because all of these things can feel so overwhelming for people. If you're having a challenge in your life and you're looking for an answer, there's a lot of information out there. I mean, there's a lot of programs, there's a lot of people. So finding that small incremental change that you can adopt into your life so that it does become habit that can be life-changing, and it can lead to more.
Yeah, and not be judgmental. I mean, if you slipped and
Yeah.
you're trying to do something and well, today you didn't, or you went off the wagon, well, it's fine. Let's do it again tomorrow. As long as that self-judgment does not come, because that negative thought is going to spiral down to even more consistently negative behaviors and feelings, and that just is going to affect our confidence and all the rest of it. So thinking, what are the good things that were done, that were achieved, and appreciate those without the self-judgment and the self-blame, because those thoughts alone take us down and drain our energy, is also very important.
And that's a natural thing, right? I mean, everybody has that voice in their head, that self-blame, that self-doubt. So
totally.
Recognizing that, but we can transform that. Is that so?
Totally. Yeah. I mean, it's the lowest resonating thoughts, the blame and the guilt.
Yeah.
And nothing good comes from it. So the higher resonating thoughts or feelings or actions would be love and non-judgment and gratitude and all of that stuff. So if we practice that, even if we don't feel it, but we just practice it, we start feeling it. Same like a hack, smile. Like, how often do you smile?
Right, yeah.
You smile to yourself. You don't feel like smiling, you take a pen. The muscles, the brain doesn't know the difference, but the muscles, it gets the alarm thing up there. Same thing with, like, I really love, and it's so simple, is the breath, right? And a lot of people talk about the breath work and all that stuff, but it can be difficult, can be long. Just a simple inhale and exhale. But the exhale, double the time of the inhale, because when we inhale, we activate our system. And when we exhale, slower, we slow down our nervous system, our heart rate, our parasympathetic system. So we actually lower that anxiety, that stress. We get into the state of serenity and calm. A couple of these breaths, they make miracles happen.
Yeah, that's a great point. There are certain things we can do physically that can change our emotional sense, our emotional feelings.
Exactly.
For people who don't see us on Zoom right now and we're just listening, one of the things you just demonstrated was putting a pen sideways in your mouth. That creates the smile, right? So you're not smiling, but it seems like you are. So even just that physical act, that's giving your brain a sense of something else. It's making something positive out of, just a physical transformation.
And definitely get out of the place, go to see the sun. The vitamin D is extremely important. 15-30 minutes a day is obligated. It's a happy hormone. Pet therapy. I have a dog. Every time I look at her, every time I pet her, and she's fluffy as well, it gives me a lot of happy feelings. Whatever it takes to elevate that energy, to elevate those hormones into the positive, constructive ones. And sometimes you need to fake it, but don't fake it. It's about acting as if, and then you kind of grow into it. And there's so many hacks and tools, and just try different things. And if you run out of it, go to my website. There's plenty of tools there. It's all for free. Listen to my YouTube short videos. You can try things 1-2 minutes, and you have a completely different energy.
That's fantastic. I think that's just such a great resource for people. You get out of your own head, find a solution, do something, all of those things. So that's great. We'll definitely be pointing people to your website and to the resources that you have. Are you planning on coming to the States at all? Are there any events where people can see you, or, ways that they can connect?
A good one. I will be in New York, 20th to 25th of May, and I think we're planning an event at the Yale, Connecticut. So
great.
Talk to Thomas.
Okay. Yeah.
So if anybody wants to do a speaker tour, to have retreats planned around the time, or have me come over, or come to Spain, you're always welcome.
That's amazing. Hopefully we can do that at some point. That would be great.
I make special experiential workshops that shift people's spirit, health, mind, create deeper connection. So you're up for a treat.
That's awesome. Well, I want to thank you for joining us here today and for sharing all of the work that you're doing. It really does sound amazing, and it's such a great resource for people who are looking to have some harmony in their life, to have some of that balance, to feel that flow, to make sure that, we're working hard, but we're also enjoying our lives and doing well for others. I mean, it all goes hand in hand.
Definitely. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. Well, we will be sure to point everybody in your direction, and appreciate you taking the time, and hopefully we'll have you back on at some other time in the future.
Yeah, thank you so much. Have a super, super day.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sounds of Health is brought to you by Nutmeg Insurance Advisors and recorded at the offices of Nutmeg Advisory Group. The podcast is produced by Jason Carubia and Dave MacNiven, with music by Rob Hames. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, X, and wherever you listen to your podcasts. Your support means a lot to us, and we appreciate it when you like, subscribe, and leave a review. If you know someone who you think should be a guest on the show, please email us at soundsofhealthpodcast@gmail.com. Each week, we spotlight the stories, people, and resources that inspire and motivate others to improve their health, and we are just getting started. Help us to share these sounds, and don't keep us a secret.